So, I just had the luxury of finishing Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, and I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. That might have been my least favorite entry in this entire franchise. Now, I'm gonna try to keep things as spoiler free as possible, but we will have a spoiler section later on where I touch on the more plot related things that I personally did enjoy about this game. Now, if you want my honest to God thought and opinion on this as someone who's experienced with the franchise, I unironically hold the position that if you were a newcomer and you had any interest in understanding what Like a Dragon is as a franchise, playing this game might not be a bad idea, especially because a lot of the things that you might think you might need to know low key don't even matter because Majima has amnesia. Okay, that is the big draw to this game. That is the reason why this game is even able to occur. Is that Majima does not remember who he is for, I want to say, about 90% of the game. It is only until like the very tail end of chapter 5 where he gains his memories, which is also the final chapter. And for some people, it makes it a whole lot easier to see Majima in a more casual setting, a light where he acts more similar to how he did in Yakuza 0 with a mix of how he is in later games, okay? If you, in my opinion, if you have no experience with the franchise, it is perfectly fine for you to start with this game and see if you kind of mess with the character dynamics enough, you mess with some of the character interactions, especially from Majima, hey, that might be a jumping on point for you to the rest of the franchise. Which is kind of funny because as a diehard fan, usually you're like, yo, you might want to play every single one of these games before you even get to experience some of the later entries. But no, I think if you come into this game like Majima with no reference, no comparison point, you are more than likely going to have a better experience than me. Now, let's talk about some of the positives because I don't want this video to be incredibly negative, even though I made such a bold and arduous claim in my title and thumbnails. I think the gameplay in this game is genuinely phenomenal. This is some of the best gameplay RGG has cooked up. Majima's two combat styles, holy hell, I did not think RGG would be able to finally produce combat styles that are sufficient enough, okay? I ended up using both Mad Dog and Sea Dog throughout my playthrough in tandem, especially with the changes to style switching and how it happens on the fly, okay? They want you to extend your combos by swapping into the other style. And to me, it makes combat a lot more free-flowing, a lot more fun. That's the biggest thing. One of the biggest draws to this game, at least for me, is that Majima has a jump button. If you've played these games for an extended period of time, you would know that air combos have never really been in the series. So when I saw that trailer and I saw Majima up in the air and he was swinging, throwing hands, I was like, hey, we might have a good game on our hands. And from a combat-only perspective, and I mean how fun it is to fight enemies, I gotta say, this is some of the most fun I've had in this franchise. Which is a good thing. I think Sea Dog excels at multi-enemy combat, while Mad Dog is good for one-on-one fights. And it's different because the last game to experiment this would have been Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, where Kiryu had his Yakuza Legend style, and he also had his agent style. But the problem with the agent style is that it felt more like a gimmick. You had things like the cigarettes, the rocket boots, that are a little bit more gimmicky, okay? You wouldn't really use them that often, especially because of how absurd and more powerful the Yakuza style was. But in this game, I found myself jumping between the two because, simply put, both of them were really fun and versatile. I found that building heat, especially once you get that level 3 pistol upgrade with Majima, happens so easy, so free. It makes group fights a joke. But while Majima is at his best, and I think the series is at its best with at least how fun combat is here, it is a little bit unfortunate to say that the whole game isn't able to match you on those terms. This game is probably got to be the easiest game in the franchise because of how overwhelming Majima is when it comes to getting into combat. Both his Sea Dog and his Mad Dog styles both have a little bit of a, we'll call it commonly referred to in the series, I believe it's called Extreme Heat Mode, but I forgot the name for it in this game. But they have two effects. Majima and his Mad Dog style has the ability to summon his iconic clones, and oh my lordy lord, these clones are monsters on the field. They trivialize almost any combat encounter. Their only weakness is that when you transition into some of the QTEs or additional scenes, or whenever additional help is called, the clones will dissipate. But when they're on the field, they are absurd in the damage output that they, put out. It trivializes a lot of the combat encounters in this game by how strong they are. While Sea Dog Majima has the sea instruments you might have seen in the trailer, where he can summon sea monsters onto the field and they do absurd AoE damage. While the clones are multiple individual instances of Majima fighting, and I don't know if you can control them, it feels like they kind of have a mind of their own. The C summons in this game are utterly powerful, but to the extent of which I only went with the main one that you get in Chapter 2 throughout my entire playthrough, because I didn't want to get the rest of them, because they make combat so trivial because of how overwhelmingly strong they are. Pirate Majima, what the game was hyped up to be, you know, pirate is in the title, and I've got to say a lot of the pirate stuff is underwhelming. The in-between combat, you'll find yourself navigating between several islands, and I'm going to be real with y'all, it's kind of egregiously boring. You end up having to drive through these like Superman 64 rings to get a little bit of a speed boost in the direction that you're going, but because of how slow the ship moves, I genuinely did not bother going out of my way, besides maybe once or twice early on in the game, just to have fun, especially once you unlock that first C tool or C instrument. I wanted to experiment a little more, but having to go to the places, I just found it not very fun to control or maneuver. The ship is incredibly slow, and that's with all the boosters, okay? When I first started playing the game, I had made sure I took my boost meter and I filled it out. That was the very first purchase I fully completed, and even still, it just feels very sluggish and slow to move around. But I will say that the inner ship combat can be amusing. Emphasis on can. And this is because a lot of the times when you find yourself in these combat encounters, you're going to have a lead ship. Right, they might have 2 ships to the side, but you're gonna have a lead ship. And what you can do in the combat encounters is you could just bum rush the lead ship. Okay, you see the ship with the purple icon, take care of that. You're gonna initiate the deck battle, and the deck battle are one of the few instances in this franchise where the large big team battles are not annoying. Something that you commonly see, especially in we'll say not Infinite Wealth, Gaiden, is the Coliseum matches. Okay, it's usually relegated to a side mode, but in this game, you know, because you have the pirate building aspect where you're building a team, it feels less annoying, and you kind of like start to build a bond whenever you see your characters pop off and stuff like that, especially when you get some of the story relegated characters like Saejima making his appearance, because oh boy, if you hoped he contributed to the narrative, I'm sorry for your loss. Side content. We still trying to talk about the good things. The side content in this game is about as good as it always is in Yakuza, okay? You got some good sub-stories that are very fun and uplifting. You got the return of Dragon Cart, the little Uber Eat taxi driver minigame. Okay, all of it's here. All of it's good and fun, okay? But is there anything else? The sea shanty's cool. Okay, the UI... And that's everything that I thought was actually pretty good about this game. I'm keeping it real with y'all. I'm trying to be nice. This is not me trying to hot take and bait. This is how I wholeheartedly feel after playing the game, okay? And these are my first impressions. I just hit the credit screen about an hour or two ago. But man, I think this game is underwhelming in almost every other aspect. But if you want to talk about underwhelming, let's be nice. Let's talk about the soundtrack. I think this is the first time in an RGG game where I do not care. There was not like an immediate banger where I was like, yo, man, I gotta add this to the playlist. It was a whole lot of just straight unforgettable people, right? And I don't mean to diss EDM, because I know EDM is like an integral part of this series, but there were very rare occasions where I was like, oh, yeah, there is music playing in the background that I find noticing that stands out. It just kind of merges together, okay? And yeah, that's true with the pirate music too. I'm a little bit disappointed in the lack of utter bangers in this franchise. But that's the least of our concerns. Another concern that I've seen, at least on my personal opinion, okay, I played the game on PC and my system defaulted to the highest preset. And I gotta say, this game is ugly. Okay, and I know RGG gets a lot of passes for being the, the recycling studio, the reuse, reduce, renew, right? But this game, the lighting in this game and some of the texture work, it's laughable, okay? There was times where I thought I was unironically playing a PS4 release. Okay, like I don't know what happened to internally, but this game looks like shit. I think the lighting in this game is really bad, like unforgivably bad, but I'm not really too much of a graphics individual to really know behind the scenes. Okay, I've been taking a look at the textures, but from at least my experience playing the system, and I understand on PC, from what I've gathered is that if you're using an Nvidia card, you might have been experiencing some severe crashing, especially in regards to the frame generation side of things. But I don't know. I have an AMD card, so skill issue on that part. But it still doesn't change the fact that I think this game looks uncharacteristically bad. And I promise y'all, I'm not like a graphics whore or anything, but I just mean there were a lot of times in this game where I'm like, maybe this game could have used some more time in the oven. I've had a couple of severe frame drops in the cutscenes, but I'm gonna hopefully blame that on the fact that I decided to play this on a PC and I didn't really fiddle with my settings. I left everything at what it was, except I turned motion blur off. Okay, but yeah, we can we can talk about the spoilers now. I think that's a good section. Okay, if you want my last comment about this game, I think this game is not worth $60. I think this is a game you buy on sale. Yes, I know Yakuza games have a lot of side content that you can indulge in. Okay, but truthfully and wholeheartedly, I think this is a game you buy on sale. This is a $30 ass game, straight up. 30. That might be stretching it, but I don't know. Comparing this to Gaiden, I think Gaiden has certain attributes that I like way more in that game, but I do understand that this game, Pirate Yakuza, has a lot of different areas, and it is a step up in Gaiden in some way, shape, and form. But we can. This game is silly. It's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, for better and for worse. If you maybe I should put this in the start of the video, but I'll say it now. If you are wondering if you should buy this game, ask yourself this question. Do you think Majima being a pirate is funny enough for you to invest 12 to 15 hours into the main story and spend $60? Because for me, my personal opinion, the bit got old really fast. Really, really fast. And what you're left with is a pretty nonsensical plot, some pretty forgettable characters, and a whole lot of nothing. Now, is the game bad? To my standards of what I expect from the franchise, I would say this game is pretty bad and underwhelming. And I think ignoring the pure combat side of things, I would be very confident in saying Pirate Yakuza is my least favorite entry that I've played. Okay, I haven't touched the Judgment games and Fist of the North Star, and we don't count Ishin in this house. But out of the main, I guess, canonical games to the story of Kiryu Saga and everything after that, this is easily my least favorite game I've ever played. Right, and when I say that, please know that is not me trying to rage bait, but that is how I feel, because in my personal opinion, to clarify what I like from RGG games is I really feel like they have mastered the soap opera character drama, okay? Especially when are times when I'm like, yo, the gameplay is not cooking. Saejima Yakuza 5, if you know, you know. But I was more invested into where the story was going narratively that I decided it would be beneficial for me to stick around. And this game's story is laughable. Laughably forgettable. Laughably stupid. Like, this game is, I don't know how to articulate it, but I think if there's any aspect in this game I was severely let down by, it would be both the OST, the difficulty of the game itself, and the story. Might be the single worst story in the entire franchise, okay? And let me give like very light overviews. Obviously, at this point, the spoiler warning is in effect, but I promise we're not going to touch on everything too much. But the entire plot of this game is kicked up by Majima getting losing a 1v1 with a giant squid. He ends up on an island. He meets Noah. Noah has a dad named not Jonesy, Jason, I think. Jason's a drunk alcoholic, but he used to be a bounty hunter. Not a bounty hunter. He used to be a pirate. He was looking for this elixir of life so he can give it to his son, who has asthma, which is really funny because the way Jason's acting like he's acting like he's gonna die at any moment. The whole time, bro, just need to make sure he got his inhaler on him, which I think makes a lot of the conflict later on in this game hilarious. But unless I'm misinterpreting something, because I always, from what I got, it's just Jason has asthma, and it's like, bro, if you don't get that boy an inhaler, like, come on. And hijinks ensue. You got Majima's version of Kuze, and when I say that, I mean you have a reoccurring character in Jack the Collector that appears, I think, about 6. Jack the Collector, along with Keith, they're a little pirate you run into yeah, they're annoying. Only in the sense that yeah, they repeat a lot, and I don't want to get too deep into touching on plot details because keep in mind I could be incredibly biased because I'm operating entirely off of memory here, but this game in Gaiden has the same issue where a good chunk of your game time from chapters 2, 3, and 4 are going to be dedicated to the game's main attraction nightlife thing, right? So in Gaiden, you had the building up the Akame points and going to build up teams to go fight in the Coliseum. In this game, you got building up your pirate ship, going to go fight pirates and stuff like that. Like, there's a good, like, I think the chapter I spent the longest time in was in chapter 2 because you're asked to build your pirate crew from 7 people to 15 along with summoning $10,000, which the $10,000 only took about maybe about 30 minutes or so with how easy the game is, which I would say getting money in this game does not feel like an issue, okay? Usually in Yakuza games, it can be really annoying, but in this game, getting money was relatively easy. I messed with the bounty hunter system, okay? This has been the first game where I actively seek out combat instead of being like, the dudes are chasing me across the map again. This is gonna be fun. But no, when I'm wandering around and I see those guys with the handcuffs emojis, I'm ready to throw down. But even touching on like the nightlife stuff, like I think the villains in this game are entirely unforgettable. You have forgettable. You have Monomer. I think he's a dude who used to be cool with Jason. Then he backstabbed Jason. Funnily enough, only because he thought his other bro had backstabbed Jason. You fight him, he puts a bounty on your head, and then he's like, okay, I'll take the bounty off, and then one of his guys kills him. Damn. You have the queen. She's working with Jason's other daughter, Naomi. The queen gets backstabbed and dies off screen. No, it was on screen. I think I just skipped the cutscene. And then finally you have Raymond, who kind of just decides to go full mask off and wants to bring back chattel slavery and organ trading. Yeah, yeah. Majima loses his memories. Majima gets his memories back in the back half of the game, or not the back half. Literally the last chapter, he gets his memories back, and nothing of interest kind of happens. Sajima shows up to do genuinely fuck all, which, hey, that hurts because to me, at least in my opinion, a lot of the Pirate Yakuza game is me wanting them to, I guess, focus more in on the Yakuza aspect instead of going so heavy in on the pirate stuff with a cast of characters that I know from experience are more than likely never going to show up again in the franchise. These characters are going, Jason, Naomi, Moana, they're going into the bin. We're never seeing them again. And I could be wrong, but like, historically speaking, these characters are not going to show back up. They might get name dropped, they might get mentioned, but to have a role like they had in this game, they're not showing up. Okay, I think the best part of this game, story wise, was easily the end of the game where Maji was kind of reflecting on his whole journey, where he's talking to Ichiban and stuff like that. Like those type of character interactions are the stuff that I care for. When Sajima shows up in that final chapter after Maji was getting beat up. No, Majima, what the fuck? Real fucking fiction. Get them niggas, bruh. Get that nigga, bruh. Real fucking fiction. Wait, we got combo heat actions. Don't the thing from the thing from 7. Wait. I love Ryu's assets. Cinema. I was geeking the whole time, but a lot of this game are going through the motions of going through the pirate stuff, and if that isn't clicking for you, like it wasn't clicking for me, I was bored. I was uninterested. Even the character, like the individual drama plot beats in this game, are just it doesn't really go anywhere. Not unpredicted, but like anywhere meaningful. Okay, it's stuff you would expect. Okay, we got the betrayal plot where it's like, actually, I didn't sell you guys out. Wait a minute. You got stuff like the bounty hunter and treasure. Everyone wanted to cut, and Majima was like, nah. And yeah, like, if anything, all this game made me do is, because this game is in the context of Majima did all this to attempt to go find a severe spoiler warning before I finish the sentence, but he did all this to try to find a cure for Kiryu, because he wants, I like the dream motif. that's been continued in the series subtly between post Yakuza 5 about not giving up on your dreams, about taking your dream as far as you can, and then hoping that some other person picks up where you left off and takes it further. I love that that's still a part of the series, and especially Majima wanting to help Noah. I feel like that part really resonated with me. There's a whole thing where they do the or Jason gets stabbed and you think he's gonna die, and I'm like, you're not dying, buddy. This is the game with the least amount of death in it, especially on the hero side of thing. No one important dies, which is crazy because Yakuza games typically got that one person who's gonna die. I think I can name one major death in every game except this game. No one fucking dies for whatever reason. Everyone just, I don't want to say a plot armor, but like they got the power of friendship through and through. They do not hit any severe hardship that isn't immediately just circumvented. The Palicana people, they were cool in this game. I actually messed with them way more in this game compared to how they were portrayed in Infinite Wealth. And I don't know. I think the main point of contention that I think is interesting enough to discuss in this game is I wonder what they're gonna do with Kiryu, because Majima talks about Kiryu having another dream. I mean, I was a little nervous in the final cutscene because I'm like, are they talking about like he's dead? But no, they show up in his hospital room and they talk to him. And interestingly enough, I think this is the first time, and considering all the mainline games, obviously not including Judgment, where Kiryu just isn't in the game, like as part of the story, okay? Because I think the only other case of this would be 7, where he does make a story-related appearance that is required. He is mentioned by name. They go to his hospital room, but he doesn't appear on screen, which I think is very interesting. Is it RGG finally getting ready to be like, we're done with Kiryu forever? I don't know, and I'm gonna try not to think about that. But all in all, I don't know. This video is a lot of. You could probably tell that this is not scripted at all. This is me just rambling. But this game, to me, I am disappointed. I really think that this either could have cooked for longer, or something is definitely missing here. But I think that this game is, once again, I said at the beginning of the video, I'm gonna say it again. I think if you were on the fence about buying this game, do you think Majima being a pirate is funny enough to spend $60? If yes, go ahead. If no, I'm sorry, but that's all you're gonna get on me. I'm sorry this video was a little bit too rambling. Maybe one day I'll be able to come back and finish my thoughts. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to make a video about this game. I'm glad I want to say hopefully future installments of the franchise will make me glad I played this game. But regardless, this is Xnox. We out. Please, RGG, do not start taking on more projects. Okay, I know y'all making Virtual Fighter. Y'all doing a whole lot of things right now, RGG. Don't let this start affecting your bread and butter. But we out of here. I'm tired. It's like 4 a.m., bro. If you watching this, if I finish this and put this out on Saturday, good morning, what did he say from the Truman? I give up. Good night. I'm tired, bro. Change something, bro. How do I stop?